Good afternoon and welcome to the Food Enthusiast. I'm Dara Bunjon and I am a food writer, food stylist, PR maven, and a frustrated baker. And today we're very excited to have a trailblazing entrepreneur woman on, Pam Miller, who has created and started, let's see if my math works, Charlottetown Farm, and a producer of goat cheese and confections. And let's bring Pam in. Okay, there you are. Hi, Pam.
Hi, Dara. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. I wanted people to get to know you a little bit and how you got started. You were a stay-at-home mom, and then all of a sudden, now you're a cheesemaker. How did that evolve?
Well, it sounded like a good idea at the time. So my daughter, who's now 28, showed numerous animals in 4-H. She started out showing cattle, and she showed goats and pigs, and we thought it was going to be a good idea to just do the whole gamut of all the animals. So we got the goats, and I fell in love with them immediately. So when my daughter went off to college, didn't really want to get rid of the goats, so we got more. So, and then after that, we just really started numerous animals in 4-H. She started out showing cattle.
I didn't turn the sound off on the computer.
Oh,
so
anyway,
sorry for. It's always something.
I know it is. But so then, long story short, I was looking for something to do once my daughter went to college, and so I went into partners with a dairy in Pennsylvania. They had a lot of dairy goats, and they had the supply of milk and the licensure. So that's where I started about 9 years ago, making cheeses, and then everything, it kind of grew. I make goat cheeses and goat milk confections.
And what are the goat milk confections that you make?
Goat cheese cheesecake and goat milk fudge.
Were you doing truffles too?
Yes. That's only something that is for a special occasion. So for Valentine's Day, we're doing the basket that'll have goat milk truffles. I do that usually Valentine's Day and Mother's Day.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are the benefits of goat milk? I mean, versus regular cow's milk?
So the comparison, you could really lay out, what's the difference between, say, goat milk, cow's milk, and sheep milk. So with goat milk, it's more easily tolerated because the fat molecules are smaller. So if some people can't tolerate cow dairy, sometimes they can tolerate goat dairy. Other times they can't if they're allergic to the proteins in the milk called the caseins. But if it's a lactose allergy or sensitivity, then normally you can tolerate goat milk and sheep milk. And with sheep milk is different than goat milk because those fat molecules are like a sponge. So you can freeze sheep milk and make cheese out of it, but as opposed with goat milk, you can't freeze it and make cheese out of it, nor cow milk. But it's very interesting, the scientific makeup of all the different types of milk. It's much more science to cheese making than I would like.
But you learned it. I mean, what is the process? How long does it take to make, let's say, a chèvre cheese or your feta cheese?
They all have different time lengths to make them. With the chèvre, the milk is pasteurized in the tank, and then we send it over to the vats to make the chèvre. And that really takes, I guess, from start to finish, about 12 hours. And then, say, a feta, that takes longer because it's pressed, and then it goes into a brine. So from start to finish, that's more like a couple weeks. Hands off mostly, but a couple weeks.
Well, you're doing like an ash age, would you say cretin and a cave age Valencia?
Valence. Mm-hmm.
Valensay.
Yeah. Now, if I were French, I would say that a whole lot more nicely, but the
Okay.
American spin on the word is, but
Well, then we'll say Valensay Hun
yes,
because we're from Baltimore. Okay.
exactly. But that has an edible, bloomy rind with a thin layer of vegetable ash. So that is the whole cheese is edible, including the rind. Hmm.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah. And then we
And
do a
you're
feta and a chèvre. Then I also do cheeses in olive oil and herbs. So we put those in a really pretty glass jar and put French herbs and the olive oil. So that'll last a little longer. And then I've been making ricotta. That's a very easy cheese to make. It's actually a curd, not a cheese. So you just curdle the milk and then you make the ricotta. And a lot of people have been enjoying that because more people are cooking at home now because of COVID.
right.
So,
Right. So the ricotta that you're making is cow's milk.
no, it's goat milk.
It's
Hmm.
goat milk,
Goat
but you
milk.
are
Yeah.
doing a cow's milk. You're
Uh,
doing mozzarella.
Mozzarella. So we offer. It's more popular in the summertime when the tomatoes are in season. But I
Right.
do a fresh mozzarella that's available at the farmers market. That was just made within hours before the market, so late the night before. And then we also have a smoked mozzarella that is smoked over fresh hay. And then we also offer a provola, which is like a provolone, only it's in a
Hmm.
brine. Then you take it out of the brine and then cave age it for 3 months. So that's a nice, creamy, slightly salty
Right.
cow's milk cheese.
I've been sitting here and getting the computer back up, and hopefully it sounds off now. I always do something, it keeps the show interesting.
Yeah.
So, you know, we talked a little earlier this week just to, reconnect, and
Hmm.
I did most of the talking what was going on in my life, but I interviewed you. It had to be at least 4 or 5 years ago for Food Service Monthly, and we came
Hmm.
out. You were on the farm at that time, and I came out with my husband Tom, and I dragged him because he liked to take pictures. I said, "There are going
Hmm.
to be goats everywhere," and they were. And I just loved. You had like the little dwarf goats.
Hmm.
There's like 210 breeds of goats, isn't there? How many?
In United States, there's more like about 11 breeds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but maybe throughout the world, maybe 15. But there are three classifications of the different breeds of goats. There are goats that are used for fiber. There's goats that are used for meat, and then
Okay.
there's goats that are used for the dairy breeds. So the dairy breeds are more like alpine goats, Saanen goats, La Manchas, Nubians. So we have a mix of all those different breeds at the dairy.
Well,
Hmm.
I know that you used to do when COVID wasn't around.
Hmm.
You do a tour, you'd be at the farmer's market. We're going to talk about the farmer's market in a couple seconds
Hmm.
with your goats, and people could come and pet them. And when I was out at the farm, I got such a kick. You know, I was sitting there taking notes on a loose leaf, and it was windy. We're outside. And as I'm taking notes, one of the goats comes up and starts eating my piece of
Oh
paper.
yeah, yeah. They're
Yeah,
very curious animals.
yeah, and they're fun. They like to jump around. I mean, we've
Hmm.
we've seen that.
It's
So,
actually more of an old wives' tale that they will eat anything because they're actually very picky as to
oh, really?
what they will eat. But with them grabbing your paper, it's more of they're exploring because they're just such curious animals, very clever, very very clever. So interesting animals that they're just a lot of fun. And we non-COVID times we bring them to Waverly Farmers Market, and it's a huge hit. Everybody, we have them in a little pen and someone that's there answering questions, and people could do photo ops and pet them, and it's a lot of fun. So as soon as it's all clear, we're gonna do that again. So
Right. Well, you are. Let's talk about Waverly Market.
hmm.
That is a farmers market. It's open year round, and I don't think people know that.
Yes.
And you've been
Hmm.
there
9 years.
se- nine
Hmm.
years, nine
Hmm.
years.
Yep, yep.
And it becomes a social hour, even with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So the regulars come by, they can
Yep.
pre-order, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of them, people can pre-order from you on the website, which
Yes.
everything
Mm-hmm.
social, everything Facebook is Charlottetown Farm, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
www. Charlottetown Farm, at
Mm-hmm.
Charlottetown Farm.
Yep.
And you can go on there and you can pre-order. You can find out about the gift boxes. So let's go
Yes.
back to Waverly Market. That's on
Mm-hmm.
Saturdays. It starts, what, at 7 in the morning?
7 in the morning and goes until noon. And it's the only all year round market in the Baltimore metro area. And they have run it so well and really assimilated just so great into the whole COVID crazy times. They've just done such a wonderful job with the social distancing and opening up the market more. And I mean, there are fresh eggs. There's a guy that has hydroponic lettuce next to me. There's a Cane Collective. They do drink mixes. There are a couple of distilleries. We have 2 or 3 places to buy meat. Paul's Farm, they have eggs and vegetables and pork. Dimitri Olive Oil's there. It's really a wonderful farmer's market. Yeah.
I really like it. I've been down there, at different times, and we
Mm-hmm.
discussed a number of years ago. It was Leslie Glover. She was a cookbook author,
Mm-hmm.
and they used to do cooking demos down there. And I was her media escort, so I took her down. And then at some point, I think I was doing some recipes because I had a compendium book out called Yum, Tasty Recipes and
Mm-hmm.
Culinary Grades, and did it there. Let's talk about cooking. And at certain times, you did do cheese making classes when COVID is going to clear.
Yes.
That'll
Mm-hmm.
come. But aren't you
Yes.
doing something with John coming up? John
Uh,
Shields, you're at Gertrude's right now.
yes. John Shields and I from Gertrude's are going to do a kind of cooking slash cheese making class, hopefully within the next month or so. Uh, and we're putting something together that's going to be a lot of fun. So as soon as we figure out when, we'll definitely post a link and people can sign up. But he and I have a lot of fun together doing different things. I've been at Gertrude's before and done some cheese classes, and I brought goats, and it's a ton of fun.
Well, he's probably one of the strongest, if not the biggest proponent of farm to table and
Mm-hmm.
using the farmers. I met
Mm-hmm.
years ago, way before it was fashionable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about, you are doing some things for Valentine's Day and one to benefit movable feasts. Why don't you fill people in on that?
Sure. So it's just been, as you know, what a crazy year. And I just kind of wanted to give back to the community a little bit and also try to have a little bit of fun and bring people a little bit of joy. So Movable Feast is a wonderful organization. And the ride for the feast, it usually happens in the late spring or May. They're not able to do that last year or this year. So they're looking for other ways to raise money for Movable Feast. And they're joining with local businesses, trying to boost the small local businesses and also make some money for Movable Feast. So we're doing that. This year, for Valentine's Day, I'm offering, well, first of all, stepping back a little bit, they are dressed up as unicorns now instead of riding bicycles. So they're in their suits, their unicorn suits, and they're going to deliver the gift basket that I've made up for Valentine's Day for people. So if you order and you're within a 10-mile radius of the BMA, you can get this gift basket delivered by unicorns. And if you don't want to do that, then you can come to the Waverly Market on February 6th and the 13th. And then the unicorns will also be at the Waverly Farmers Market giving out this gift basket. And I'm also doing a unicorn fudge, which is a white chocolate goat milk fudge with unicorn sprinkles. And all the proceeds from that go to Moo
A
Feast.
little feast. And people can
Yes.
there'll be little samples for them to taste. Am I right?
We
Wrong?
can't do samples because of COVID right
Oh,
now.
that's right.
So yes. Unfortunately, we would love to do that, but we can't right now. So, but I do a chocolate goat milk fudge normally, and this is a special fudge. And then also with the gift basket, that's has a lot broader category of all a smattering of everything that I make. We'll have 2 slices of goat cheese cheesecake, a box of goat milk truffles, also a box of chocolate fudge, a jar of goat milk feta with olive oil and herbs, and a container of herbed chèvre. And then the piece de la resistance would be a heart-shaped cretin, aged goat cheese, topped with toasted pink peppercorns in a wooden cheese box. So that's a nice little variety.
Well, I actually got somebody came in here, but they're in Florida. They said, I want a unicorn delivery.
Yeah. Anything's possible.
Yeah, right. We'll work that out. So, you basically do all this. You
Mhm.
told me that your 84-year-old mother helped you out. What does she do?
She does. She helps me with labeling the containers. She helps pack the cheeses and the fudge. She's a huge help. I couldn't do it without her. She's really a big help, and it's really great.
Being a woman entrepreneur, were there any roadblocks that you came across in getting the business together that, do you feel
Um,
like had you been a man, maybe things would have been easier?
I really can't think of anything, Dara. It's been, I have to say, when I first started the business, I didn't really picture myself in 5 years or 10 years what it would be like, and it's just, I've met so many lovely people, yourself included, and
Of
just
course.
I've, and had so much fun, and I try to give back to the community, and this is reached beyond my wildest dreams as to how everything has gone. It's really been a wonderful experience, and I
Now,
feel very fortunate.
yeah, people can get your cheeses. They can get it at the farmer's market.
So
Uh,
Waverly Farmers Market, that's all year round. And I'm there most Saturdays unless you would step out the front door and think, oof, I don't know whether I want to go out. Then I may not be there, but normally we're
I got
there.
that.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
I didn't know if you were in any retail outlets. I know that you supply many of the
Hmm.
restaurants, so people,
Yes.
if as that comes back up, there,
Hmm.
you have been enjoying Charlottetown, chèvre
Hmm.
and feta at the
Hmm.
restaurants. But is there a retail like Whole Foods or anywhere?
Well, we were in Whole Foods for a while, and then that just got a little too complicated. So I took a little bit of a rest from that. But I'm also at the Catonsville Farmers Market. That starts in May and goes until late November. Well, this year it went through December. That is off of Frederick Road in Catonsville. That's Sundays from 9 to 12:30, and that's a really lovely farmers market. And I'm also most of my products are at a market in Catonsville called the 818 Market, and it's a fairly new market. They have a wonderful cheese selection, and they carry some of my cheeses, my cheesecake, and my fudge. So, and there are still restaurants um, buying my cheeses. Well, Gertrude's has my cheesecake on their carryout menu. And there are also other Baltimore County restaurants that are still open that are carrying it. McFall's Iron Horse Tavern, also
Okay.
Well Crafted Kitchen. They have my cheeses in their on their pizzas. And then in town, there's Foraged in Hamden, and Chris Amendola. He's a great guy, and he's a good
I
customer
love
as
Chris.
well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. He's a great forager. He
He
really,
is. He
I
is.
have,
Yeah.
I had a ways back, I had convinced him to take me out and go foraging. and the weather had turned, and then it didn't happen. And now, before COVID, he started doing classes and taking people out in group. So maybe one day, I
Yeah.
see mushrooms, but I have no clue, on my walks, are they any good? Are they bad? Are they treated by ChemLawn? So you want to be out in the woods.
Exactly.
Um, I always ask two questions at the end of the show. And one of them is, what is your most epic culinary fail?
That would be that I forgot to put sugar in quite a few cheesecakes that I made a few years ago, and didn't really realize it. It didn't look any different. Cut it up, and then that was when we were giving samples out, and people tried it, and it was a friend of mine, and she said, I think there's something wrong with this cheesecake. And so we tried it, and I'm like, oh no. Well, then I gave it away to a whole bunch of people. To this day, I still have people ask for, do you still make the unsweetened cheesecake? It was so good. So it kind of turned out to be,
Well,
pretty
that
good.
you made lemonade out of lemons,
I did.
didn't you? Didn't you? Who was
Exactly.
it? I'm going to skip this story. Is it somebody? One of the guests, the pie man. He talked about was trying to impress some girls at a party or something, and he made these pecan pies, and he used salt instead of sugar.
Oh, jeez.
Right. So
No.
everybody can go hear that story. Look up, the Pie Man, and look at that episode. So we have the cheesecake. I want to remind people there's a couple things. Charlottetown Farm, that's www.charlottetownfarm.com, at Charlottetown Farm for Instagram and on Facebook. On Facebook, that the Waverly Market is open on Saturdays from 7 until
Noon.
what time? Noon. And to go out there on Saturday and take advantage of the unicorn fudge. And that benefits the movable feast here in Baltimore. Now, the last question for you is, what didn't I ask you that I should have?
I don't know. Let's see. I guess, I don't know. I mean, maybe not ask, but I just want to impress upon people that, coming to the farmer's market, it has just been my savior throughout COVID. And I think it's a lot of people's savior, is that it's a social time, as you mentioned, but it's just, you can really find everything for your table there. It's amazing. And, if they feel like getting out, but they don't want to go to the grocery store, they feel like it's too risky. I know it's chilly, but try to just brave the elements a bit and come to Waverly Farmers Market on a Saturday. And I really don't think people would be disappointed. It's really a great place, and you can socialize, and it's a lot of fun.
It's good getting out in the fresh air, whether it be a little bit cold or not. We need to. We tend to hibernate, and gets a little bit lonely that way right now with COVID.
Yeah, it's good for the soul.
Yeah, and so is cheesecake, right?
Exactly, Dara. That's
cheesecake is good for the soul. I want to thank you for being part of the show. We look forward to seeing you at the farmers market. And everybody, Charlottetown Farm, Pam Miller.
Thank you, Dara.
Okay. Let me bye-bye. Next week, our guest is going to be Irina Stein, owner of Alma Cocina Latina, which is Venezuelan cuisine, and they're newly located in Station North on Charles Street. As always, you can reach me at food@jmoreliving. This will be up permanently on J More Living's Facebook page immediately after the show, and will be on their webpage, jmoreliving.com. And you can reach me on social media at Dara Cooks. As always, I keep saying that, we enjoy it when you share the show, when you spread the joy and the food around. It always makes everyone happy. So stay safe, wear your mask, And as I've said before, may your plates always remain full. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next week.